In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create this matte painting here using just these three images. And we're focusing on perspective here and matching the perspectives of different photographs. And it's something that a lot of people get wrong, and it can be difficult to get your head around when you're first starting out, but there's a really simple technique that will just completely remove all of the questioning behind it. So before we get into doing this, I'm going to show you the different types of perspective. So here we have an image of a church, and we have 3-point perspective. And you might already know this, so we're not going to sort of dwell on it for too long, but here you can see that's one perspective. So we've got a vanishing point out here somewhere. Then we have got another perspective, oops, down this way. So you can see that the church is disappearing again and shrinking off to the right. And then the last perspective we have is going down to the left here. So this is quite a complicated image to use in your matte painting. You would probably want to, if you had to use this, you would probably end up cutting out and separating the different faces so that you could morph them and warp them to match whatever you're trying to build or trying to add detail to. So what I can do is we can come up here to perspective warp, and I can really quickly show you how you might use this image and what kind of parts of the image you might use. So if I go like this, wait, there we go. Now by clicking W, I go into the warp mode, and this is where I can then start to pull this layer around and try and change the three dimensionality of it. One thing that we can do here is we can shift click on some of these lines, which will force them to be parallel and force them up and down, or force them horizontal. So depending on what you're trying to do here, you might decide to, if we just undo, I can only undo one, but you might decide that you want this face to be completely flat. So you could flatten that out, and then you can extract that. The other thing you could do is try and bring this around, or simply just straighten out and remove this this top angle vanishing point. Now, it's not that common for us to use images that are 3-point perspective, and also even less common to actually have to create a matte painting that has 3-point perspective. So really most of the time you want to be using images like this one, which this has 2-point perspective for the most part, but really it's so abstract and it's so unclear as to where those perspectives are that it's pretty easy to use this this particular one. So you can see here we've got a horizontal line there and one here, and if we continue those out, they probably converge out, past the edge of the frame here. And then we probably also have a convergence point. We go out that way, out there, it's so far out here that it doesn't even matter. So this is a really great image to use because it's going to fit with other images pretty easily. Here's another example. This would be where we have, I'd say, 1-point perspective, which is the clear 1 point is in the distance here, and we have everything coming sort of from that point. You could argue that we have other points of perspective. Potentially these vertical lines are converging, but because visually speaking it's not obvious, we would call this a 1-point perspective image. So here's another one, 1-point perspective in the distance there, really easy to use. So let's just start by trying to combine two of these images. So I'm going to select this